have been, there's been quite a bit of interest in our presentation, so we want to be able to share it with other people. So thank you for joining us. My name is Nathan Scott, and this is our presentation about some of the ways that Mass Energize can support you if you're considering applying for the DOER's Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant Program, so the EECBG. So before we get started, we're just going to run a quick poll. And my colleague Talia is just going to put the poll up just to get a sense of what brings you here today. So if you don't mind just taking a quick look at that poll, responding to the questions.
And that should be on your screens now. If it isn't, let me know.
We'll wait another 30 seconds. Okay, looks like most people have had a chance to respond, but here, let's just wait another few seconds. If you've just joined us, we're doing a quick poll. Okay, Talia, do you want to let us know what the responses were?
Yes, it looks like we have several people who are just joining us for the first time, some people who are wondering how Mass Energize can support their communities who are already involved in Mass Energize, and also many people who are wondering about half of the people in this call, a little over half of the people in this call wondering about learning about the ECBG funding and opportunities and about the different mechanics of applying to a grant and that process. And also a fair amount who are just here to listen, observe, and get new ideas.
Great. Okay, good. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to start with talking a little bit about Mass Energize, but I also want to start off with a big caveat to say that we are not the experts. We are on the EECBG program. We don't have definitive answers to technical questions about EECBG. Fortunately, we are joined by one or two members of DOER on this call, and hopefully at the end, they'll be willing to share some more thoughts in answers to some questions. But I just want to make clear that I am not the authority. What I am the authority on, hopefully, is how Mass Energize can support you with clean energy campaigns and how that might fit into an EECBG application or proposal. But I do want to defer to the DOER representatives and leaders who can answer more definitive questions about the program itself. Okay, so speaking about Mass Energize, just a little bit about us. I think most of you are familiar with us, but I do want to just give a quick rundown of some of the things about Mass Energize. We are a Massachusetts statewide nonprofit. And really what we do, our mission is to support community leaders, whether they be town officials, grassroots leaders, municipal sustainability directors. Our mission is to support community leaders in effectively engaging residents in climate action. And as we all know, climate action takes many, many forms, but our focus is really clean energy and how residents can be better engaged in taking action to decarbonize and using clean energy. So we were founded in 2019, so we're about five years old. And we started in just a few Metro West communities and then have quickly grown. So today we are supporting or working in over 25 communities across the state, providing really 4 types of engagement support services. You can see that we design and run clean energy campaigns, And part of that, a big part of that, is providing the support for these campaigns. So we provide planning, marketing, social media support. You can see a variety of the forms of support we offer. We also offer customized digital tools that go along with those campaigns, and also standalone websites to help residents engage, or the towns and communities engage with their residents better. And I think many of you on this call do either have or know about the Mass Energize websites, but we'll be demonstrating a little bit more about our campaign sites today. So we also offer digital tools, as I've just mentioned, one of them being the campaign website, which we'll demonstrate in a little bit later on in this webinar. We host a community of practice, which is using a learn and share model, where we're really incubating support and building capacity of community leaders by supporting their engagement with each other. And then finally, we've developed and offer as a resource to our communities a variety of toolkits and resources, best practices in handling and promoting community engagement for clean energy. So sorry. We have also, as you can see, we've run several campaigns. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the plug-in campaign, but we do multi-town decarbonization campaigns. We are currently working in Framingham with some environmental justice communities, supporting those community adoption of clean energy. We have supported heat smart campaigns and more. And then finally, I know this is important for the town and municipal level, we are an approved PRF 74, which is the clean energy vendor under the Peregrine Energy Group. So, okay. So a little bit now about the Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant Program, which is a program of the DOER with funding coming from the federal government, from the DOE. So the this DOER program supports this particular one that we're talking about here today is supporting municipalities under 35,000 residents. And these are grants that are being provided up to 50,000, though there's an exception for one of the other categories that supports up to 75,000. And then towns who have more than 35,000 residents are receiving a formula support through a separate program. But again, that's not what we're talking about here today. So this particular program offers support in multiple categories, but only one. They're looking for applications just to support applications in one category. Some of you I've had conversations with earlier, and we thought incorrectly that there would be the possibility of applying for support in multiple categories, but that's not the case. They're really looking for applications just to support one category of support. So in that one category of support that we are really offering and talking to you about today is the clean energy community campaigns. So this is DOER funding through EECBG to support communities engaging their residents in clean energy. So this is what Mass Energize does. And so that's why we're really here today. So, and the other thing to notice or to pay attention to is that they're really looking for community campaigns that focus on low to moderate income residents, underserved communities. So there is a link, and I won't go to the link now, but they do have a link for the Climate and Economic Justice Screening tool, where you can see a map, an interactive map, to see communities, see whether there are environmental justice communities in your municipality. And they're really looking for campaigns that focus on the benefits to these environmental justice communities or under the Justice 40 initiative. So they're also looking for applications and proposals that encourage partnerships with community-based organizations. And that's, again, a strength that Mass Energize has. We ourselves are a community-based organization and work with community-based organizations. So town applications that demonstrate that they're working closely with community-based organizations are encouraged. And finally, you can see, and one thing that we want to make clear is that Mass Energize can support you with application language, but the municipality itself has to be the lead applicant. So we are not here to say we can apply for you, not at all. This is an application that you as the towns need to take forward, but we can support the process and support you in how you are presenting your clean energy campaign with Mass Energize's support. And then you can see the deadline, the application deadline is August 16th, which is coming up quickly. So, okay, a little bit about kind of how Mass Energize can support you. We have really come up with a kind of a two-pronged approach, mostly to address the issue of procurement. So we are offering kind of a standard model of clean energy support, a clean energy campaign support that comes in under the $10,000. So for $9,500, we can offer you a streamlined, more standardized form of support. We also are happy to work with you on a more customized method of support, but of course that being over the $10,000 requires a little bit more involvement, and we're happy to talk with you about that as well, because we are, as I said, an approved vendor under Peregrine Energy. So here's a couple of things that we would like to be able to support you with. Obviously, a website that is dedicated to the campaign. We have translation capabilities as well for reaching non-English speakers. We offer work plan support and implementation. So in terms of the planning and the staff time that is engaged in the planning of these campaigns and the implementation of the campaign. So we're offering 60 hours of support under the standard model, and then a customized number based on what your needs are in kind of the enhanced model. We also are offering community surveys. We have a standard survey that we use for our plugin campaign. And again, in the enhanced model, we're happy to run surveys for your community to establish community norms, to establish community attitudes prior to the start of the campaign. We can also provide support for marketing. Oh, and I mentioned convening events. So in-person events is possible, but we also are happy to organize and will organize webinar presentations, outreach presentations for community members to learn about the campaign and to engage. And so again, you can see that we're offering 2 at the standard model, and then 4 or more, depending on your needs. Marketing, you can see that we offer a variety of marketing, and I can talk about that in a bit. We also are happy in the enhanced kind of model of our support to run an RFP for vendors if that were necessary, though we can't do that in the more streamlined model. We are ourselves very interested in evaluation and metrics, and so we'll also provide evaluation support to track engagement and to really help you build your capacity for measuring and tracking residential engagement. And then you can see the timeline. We really feel like a 6-month timeline is for a shortened or reduced, more streamlined version would be a sufficient amount, though obviously longer is better. And in the case of the enhanced campaign, we'd be happy to run 9 to 12 months or longer, depending on your needs. Okay, so just moving on. A little bit about the plugin Metro West campaign. This is kind of an example of a campaign that we have just wrapped up, and it really serves as our, in a sense, template for the kind of approach that we would be offering to you. And if you were to choose the kind of the streamlined model or the streamlined campaign, we would leverage a lot of the material from this particular campaign. So we wanted to tell you a little bit more about it. So it's a campaign that we ran from November of 23 to June of 24, though the active outreach period was just about 4 months. So you can see kind of some of the impact we had in the 4-month period. It was a multi-community campaign. And again, there's some real interesting benefits from towns coming together, and really we're able to leverage the shared resources. And this campaign really focused on 3 clean energy technologies: community solar, heat pump, and home or rooftop solar. So those are the 3 technologies, if you will, that we were promoting through the plugin campaign. We did a lot of the facilitation. of the various groups coming together. That's time consuming and yet I think really rewarding. And the communities that took part in it were really, I think some of them were unsure, but then ended up being very positive about the shared nature of this campaign, because we're, as I said, able to leverage a lot of the community resources and share those resources. We did run a vendor RFP and for community solar, and we chose two vendors. One for kind of market rate customers and then one for low income customers. We did, as you know, as I will show you, we did marketing, we built a website, we ran a survey, and then we tracked engagement metrics. So what I'd like to do now is just show you a little bit about this campaign, the campaign site. It starts with, I've just clicked on the site for Plugin Metro West. And one of the first questions that pops up is, okay, where are you from? So once again, if you were to use this, this would be for your communities. Okay, this would be for your community. You can see there's a banner image, and then you can see that this is how the campaign page generally looks. Obviously, all of these things are customizable. A little bit about the campaign, getting started. And you can see it's intended to be visually engaging, but also very, very easy to use. So getting started, here are the three technologies. Are you interested in community solar, heat pumps, home solar? Click on a button, learn more. That takes you to heat pumps. Okay, you're interested in heat pumps. Here you can see on the right-hand side, you can get updates about kind of heat pumps. You can make comments, you can write testimonials. All of this is very easy, very, very easy to use. And you can see that, the metrics of people who have left comments, people who have shared, people who have viewed. And you can see down below what for each technology, what is being kind of offered as far as information. A little bit about why heat pumps. What are the positive, but what are the benefits? Okay, you want to take action. Here's some very quickly things you can do. Can ask a question, get help, talk about, there's information to share about incentives, find a vendor. And these are the things that we really, through our own practice and our own evaluation of users, we've learned that these are the things that people want immediately to know. They want to be able to get questions answered. They want to see if they can find a coach to help them. They want to know about the incentives, and they want to know, okay, how do I get started? Who do I talk to? So we've learned that these are the things that people are most responsive to. Then for people who want to spend more time on the site, there's testimonials you can see, and then you can see here's a little bit about coaches and how coaches can support you. So this is just a little bit about the site itself. Feel free to spend more time on it, but I'm going to go back to the presentation and just give you a little bit of more how we supported the Plugin Metro West. So these are just some examples of social media posts that we provided to this campaign. We hired a marketing firm that helped us design and develop these. And these are the images and that I'm going to show you just a few, but keep in mind that there's obviously text that goes with this on the social media page, whether it be Facebook or what have you. So this one on the left is just it was a Facebook moms group that we developed talking about heat pumps. And you can see, obviously, heat pumps are warm, help keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer. The one on the right here is just a little bit of an edgy, image just to try to get some interest, get some engagement, talking about going electric. And here's an example of, we also tried to use some humor, tried to use some other methods just to make our social media posts more engaging. And you can see here on the left, the heat pump with an identity crisis. Something else we did on the right, I'm just going to play you a very quick clip of some video testimonials. And so we did. So let's see it. Tell me if you can.
Solar in our house.
Can you hear that all right?
When we checked on the front, we couldn't have solar in the front. The technology changed, so we now have it front and back.
We have had so many months where we paid no electrical bill at all. It's been really exciting.
Again, so there's a 20-second video, but these are the kinds of ways in which we support the campaigns with some of the graphics and some of the imagery. Whoops, sorry. Here, let me. I'm going to move on. Okay, so a little bit about the plugin campaign. It was really being active for really a period of 3 months, 3 to 4 months. So during that time, we held 23 separate events and had 400 event registrants. Now, obviously, not everybody attended every single thing, but our engagement for the events was 400, with 95, as you can see, 95% of respondents stated that they were more confident after the event in taking next steps. We had, as you can see, 87 coaching requests. About half of those were for heat pumps. We got 19 new community solar subscribers, of which 6 were low-income households. And we measured through our own tracking and our own metrics that we had 800 unique visitors to the website during that period. We also, besides the digital engagement, we did both in person, but also had banners printed and got some interesting and good word of mouth engagement. And then you can see that we've had, these are the various social media platforms that we use. And during this time, we did 112 social media posts. So you can see that we're quite active. This is not kind of a passive campaign. This is an active campaign where we're really actively working with the communities, and not just we, the community residents and community leaders were active in making sure that this was as successful a campaign as possible. So, okay. And then I'm just going to wrap up. These are some of the communities we're currently working with. You can see that there are, many communities from across the state, but I'm sure you'll recognize many of these. Okay, so next steps, before we go to question and answers, next steps. What we really are encouraging folks to do who are interested in pursuing EECBG funding and also working with us is to review the grant material. And we'll be sending out these links, but the DOER has posted links to various ways in which you can get more information about the program, about its priorities, as well as the application itself. It's not a difficult application, but clearly it needs some thought and attention being given to it. The program notice is on ComBuys, and again, links are here. I won't follow the links right now. So that's obviously the first question. Is like, okay, can our town take this on? Do we, let's look at the materials, make sure that we're a good fit, make sure we've got the various pieces in place to actually submit our application. And then obviously we'd love for you to give us a call and speak, or an email to speak about your ideas and how we can help you design, develop the campaign proposal idea, and then help you make sure that that is integrated well into your application. So if you do go through these various steps and decide like, okay, this is not really going to work for us for whatever reason, we're also happy to help you in other ways or for other projects. We're happy to have you just know about us and about the services that we can support you with, even if you decide not to pursue this. So there's lots of ways and opportunities to engage with Mass Energize, joining our community of practice. We'd love to have more people joining, learning, being part of the peer support network. We've got digital engagement platform that we're happy to support you with, talk to you about, offer to your community. And then we've got resources such as our toolkits. So, okay, I think I'll stop there. And let's start with some questions. And I think what I'll also do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I do see already we've got some questions being asked. So let me stop. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll start moving into questions. Okay. I see that Alex Hasha has this question raised, but let me, just before we take questions, I do notice that both Dylan and Joanne from DOER are on this call. I do want to just confirm that you're able and willing to help respond to questions that may be directed to you. Is that the case? Can I just get that confirmation from either Joanne and or Dylan?
Yes.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Okay. So Alex, yes, go ahead.
Hi, thanks for hosting this call. Excited about this opportunity. And one thing that was going through my mind as I looked at the website with its emphasis on coaching. So I know that the communities involved in your pilot program had put several years of work into recruiting and training coaches before that launched. Milton has not done anything like that. What would you envision in terms of support for putting a volunteer base, a local volunteer base to provide these services?
Right. Yeah, no, thank you, Alex. That's an excellent question. So yes, you're correct that all four of these communities already had existing coaches. In the amount of time, it really is not, I don't think, feasible in a short window of time to have the ability to train a whole new cadre of coaches and then use those in a 6-month period. I would say in this case that there really needs to be an existing for this round. If you're wanting to focus on coaching, there would need to be some existing coaches. If you wanted to develop a new coaching program, I think that there are resources that we'd be happy to help you with. I do see one of my colleagues, Brad, who is also works with the Heat Smart Alliance. Brad, can you take that question or help Alex understand how we might be able to support the development, building the capacity of coaches in Milton?
And just a quick follow-up before we go deep on this. So I know the application deadline is August 16th, but when would, assuming success, when would the funding land and these programs be launching?
Okay, so for that second part of that question, maybe we can get a quick response from Dylan. I don't know the answer to that. When would funding likely be received for a successful applicant?
It depends. Not really an answer. It depends on how many applications we receive.
Yeah. I asked just to know what kind of lead time there is to prepare for the actual implementation.
There'll typically be several months of review time and then approvals, and then I can't give you an exact date on when we can make announcements.
So we're talking 2025, basically. So
likely early 2025.
So there is some time to recruit volunteers, basically.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Brad, can you address the idea, address the development or building kind of the capacity of coaches?
I just wanted to comment on that. I wouldn't say those 4 towns all had coaches for several years. I think some of them were brought in fairly recently, but putting together a coaching program as part of this and getting maybe using the Heat Smart Alliance for training, something like that, I think is a good thing to do as part of this. And that will have lasting benefits. So I wouldn't be too discouraged by that. I work both with the Heat Smart Alliance and Mass Energize, and we might be able to do something like that. But getting a coaching program started, and Steve Bright would help with that training. Could be a good piece of this.
Great. Okay. So Alex, I hope, and certainly we can follow up, talk to you some more about that, but I hope that was an initial answer to your question. Arnold Epstein.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Just a general question on the overall program. If your community is not a designated environmental justice community, does that mean you really have a very small chance of getting a grant through this program? Can someone respond to that?
Dylan, can I turn that to you as well?
So since this is a federal funds grant, we are obligated to allocate at least 40% of funding to environmental justice communities as part of the Justice 40 initiative. Having said that, I don't want to say that a community that is not designated as environmental justice would not receive funding at all. It just changes your probabilities of an award. So I would still encourage anyone and everyone to apply. It's just that, the more applications, the lower the chances of getting any single applicant, any single award. But we are having a focus on environmental justice communities, and we also encourage partnerships as well, so that can help stretch the grant dollars a little bit further among multiple municipalities.
If I could just ask a follow-on, I think you may have answered this, but just to make sure I understood. We could, if a town is not a designated environmental justice community, could it partner with another community that was a designated environmental justice community for a grant through this program that would be used in both communities?
For a clean energy campaign, sure. I would say that, DOER would rather have more of, if that was the case, then we would want to have some kind of plan to see how more resources are being allocated to the other municipality. But yes, that's an allowable project.
Thank you.
Great, good. Okay, I do see a question, so please also feel free to use the chat. And I see some questions have been put in there and some answers given. And I see that you're asking the question whether the Mass Energize would be applying as a partner to the municipalities or just assist with the application process. I think it really depends on the level of our engagement. I think it could go either way. If the communities really felt like they had the capacity and were just needing Mass Energize for some support, then I think we would just be assisting. But we would certainly be named in the application because I think we do bring some significant strengths as a community-based organization to any application. So whether we'd be a full partner or not, I think if it were really a customized campaign that Mass Energize was really helping to run, then yes, by all means, I think we would be an active partner in that application. But again, the lead applicant always needs to be the municipality.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions, either regarding Mass Energize and or EECBG? I mean, a question that I have is, are there towns who are already actively thinking about applying? And if so, what are your ideas for the kind of campaign that you'd like to be running? Yes, it looks like Rob. Rob, if you want to unmute yourself, but Rob and Ashland.
Yeah, I'm aware that Ashland is thinking about applying for a grant for the town of Ashland separately from Mass Energize for a particular project. But I was wondering, when I was listening to your plug-in campaign, which I've heard, of course, multiple times, it looks like that really was set up to be a multi-town project, and it really had the benefits of a multi-town approach over your regular Mass Energize programs that you support. So now in our case, we would be interested in some of the pieces that you have, but we would have to partner with towns around us, which may not necessarily be environmental justice communities. And then I could see that you could maybe support that since you have done all that work, but I don't know how easy that would all be, and if that's really your goal, or are you thinking about programs that are not across multiple towns and just offering a general marketing support?
We certainly can, and I think that we are in the position to offer multi-town campaigns. though I don't know that we would necessarily, the EECBG proposal is due in just a month. So, that would be difficult. To put a multi-town, to start from scratch, putting together a cohort of communities. We don't need to do multi-town. In your case, it could just be Ashland. That would be fine. It doesn't need to be multi-town. So Rob, if you wanted to pursue that just as Ashland, we'd be happy to support you with that as well. So are you asking because you would like to be a part of a multi-town initiative?
Yeah, I was thinking that has certain advantages, and since I've seen the advantages of, and I know that there's some towns in our neighborhood that are interested in doing that. So, but maybe you're right. Maybe that's too short notice for any of this. But I don't know. But besides the fact that Ashland has already our town sustainability managers already looking at a project separately. So we don't want to have two projects going.
Sure. Well, I would say that we certainly, we really feel like this multi-town initiative was very successful. We learned a lot in the process of doing plug-in, and we certainly plan to continue that, doing multi-town engagement, supporting multi-town initiatives. So whether it's through this particular program, most likely not to put something new together unless towns were already coming to us with that desire. But that is something that we certainly plan and will continue to do. So Rob and anybody else on this call that's interested in joining kind of a cohort, please let us know, because that's certainly something that we intend to continue doing.
Okay.
Okay, other questions are, so it looks like Alex, you've said that Milton is thinking about applying, and you are thinking about, again, supporting residential electrification engagement. So we'd be, as I said, Alex, we'd be happy to think with you and talk with you further about, what that might look like, and how we can best support you. How about other towns? Are there other towns that are already in the process, or are you aware are applying for under other categories besides the community kind of clean energy engagement category?
So this is Newburyport, Molly. Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Molly. Great to have you here.
Yeah, so Newburyport, as you know, is interested in an engagement piece of the grant. And specifically, we're looking at our fixed income retiree older residents. A lot of them, I mean, especially these past 2 weeks, are in older homes that they have to put in air conditioners. Some don't even have them. So we've had a lot of calls and questions from people like that, how they can stay cool in their homes if they don't have that ability. So that's the market that we really think needs a lot of help in our area. And then additionally, we would like to perhaps have some studying or engineering studying done on maybe one or two of our buildings that we would like to electrify.
Well, great. And Molly, you and I have spoken, but we would be, very, very supportive of the first part of what you indicated is doing outreach to seniors, to elders, thinking about ways in which we can, leverage various forms of support to help them with both the clean energy transition, but also just supporting their own resilience in the face of heat and other climate extremes. So I'm glad you're thinking about that. And yes, by all means, let's keep talking about how we can support you.
Okay, great, thank you.
That's interesting. But we were thinking about something similar to, but if we would have multiple proposals from the same town, would that not be a good thing? On even different categories, would that not be encouraged?
I'll let Dylan respond to that, but initially, I think that would not be encouraged. I think
Okay.
the DOER is really
Agree.
looking for one application. But
Per
Dylan, you
town.
want to speak to that any further?
Yes, I think we had agreed that a town can only apply for one of the categories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And practically speaking, even if it were possible, it may be possible to if it were allowed to split the money, but then it won't go as far. Like we're talking about $50,000, which is for community engagement that's quite substantial, but for like some of the other categories,
Right.
it might not be enough money. So even if it were allowed, it probably wouldn't be worth it in any case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then to keep in mind is that these are competitive. This is a competitive process. And so certainly, well, depending on how many people apply, not everybody is going to be able to receive the funds. So, okay, other questions or other ideas that this might be also an opportunity for communities who are interested, who might be have thoughts, would like to join additional initiatives. I mean, my understanding is, Dylan, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that you are encouraging more than one town or one community coming together to apply. And you indicated earlier that that could include an environmental justice community as well. So if there are towns that would like to join other initiatives, my sense is that could be a really positive thing.
Yes, we say that municipalities can partner together on a single project to braid their funds. In which case, one of the municipalities would be a lead applicant, and then you just list out your partnering communities and then your partnering community-based organizations as well.
Great, great. Okay, thank you. Okay, Tiana from Wakefield.
Hi, thanks so much. This has been super helpful. If we were to do, just to sort of dig in a little further on what Dylan was just saying, if we were to partner with other towns, would that then be an opportunity for submitting multiple category areas? So for instance, if Wakefield, Melrose, and Stoneham went in together on one community engagement project for which Melrose was the lead town. This is entirely hypothetical. I've not spoken with Melrose about this. If we were to do one where they were the lead town, could we then submit an application in a different category, say for a decarbonization of a building in Wakefield, separate from that campaign project?
Hi, this is Joanne from DOER. I got kicked off of Zoom and couldn't come back, so I'm on my phone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you for joining us, Joanne.
Sure. First of all, I want to, if Dylan hasn't already said so, I want to thank Mass Energize for putting this webinar on. This was very helpful, and I'm glad that you're spreading the word on this particular part of the EECBG grant opportunity for the clean energy campaign portion. So I want to thank you for doing that. Secondly, I'm going to put on my my Stern grant manager hat on, and I want to, anything that is said verbally, even though we're all very trustworthy and Dylan is terrific, the proper way to ask these kinds of questions is through the Q&A option on our wonderful Combis procurement area. That way, everybody who wants to apply for the grant has the same opportunity to see the questions and to see the answers. So I just want to caution that whatever said here may not be the official end-all related to the grant administration and decisions being made. So I'm taking that hat off now. I just want to, we're sort of veering into an area where I'm not feeling very comfortable with disseminating information to the 20 or 30 people on this call that others may not have access to. That said, I want to encourage the caller from Wakefield to put that question in writing. And if you don't have that Combis access, which most people have trouble getting it, send it to Dylan and we'll get it posted on the Q&A. So then everybody can see the question and everybody can see the answer, and we'll get the same information out there.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. That makes perfect sense.
Sorry to be a killjoy. I just don't want to
no, you're totally right.
Have this. Yeah. But I appreciate the creative thinking and want to encourage communities to consider combining applications where it makes sense, where you're doing similar things or have similar goals. And the whole idea is to spread the small amount of money we have to have it go as far as we can.
Yeah. I have a second question, which may get the exact same answer, but just in case it doesn't, is the intent to spread the money sort of full application at a time, or more like peanut butter? So if, for instance, we said, oh, we'd like 9,500 to do the standard plug-in campaign with Mass Energize, but so do 200 other towns, would we get either yes, fully 9,500 or nothing, or could we end up getting, say, $3,000 and then we have to go to Nathan and say, what could you do for 3,000 instead? Do you have a sense of whether, sort of which approach?
I can't answer that, but
okay.
If you look at the grant application with the evaluation criteria, hopefully that'll lead you to some answers. Yeah, so we'll just sort of leave it at that.
Okay, thank you.
And I do want to say, even though we have limited funds, and we want to be able to support every community that applies as much as possible. So when we say please just choose one category, you're allowed to apply in multiple categories, but if we have, we expect to have more demand than supply, we may, if you choose two different categories, we may select one. Like, okay, you'll get the clean energy planning, but not the clean energy campaign, or vice versa. So if one is more important than the other, indicate that in your application.
And Tiana, I'll just also say that, I mean, we are offering, as part of this, we can also send you the links to the Combis and other links as well. So it sounds like Dylan can send that to you. We can also send that to you, just so that you have access to the full information as it's presented on the website. So. And there's a copy of the application itself, the application questions, which we're happy to circulate. So I also see a question in the chat regarding collaborative programs like the Cape Ann Climate Coalition. So Tom, I'm familiar with the Cape Ann Climate Coalition, but I don't know to what extent that is a municipal initiative and to what extent that is more of a community-based initiative. Can you tell us more about what level the Cape Ann Climate Coalition functions at?
Yeah, it's strictly a community-based organization working with 4 municipalities, but not strictly with any legal connections to any of the governments.
Okay. Certainly, we certainly are very aware of the great work that the Cape Ann Climate Coalition is often doing, and I know that you've, or if you're a part of it, I know that you've received money from Mass CEC, which is obviously supporting not just municipalities, but it's really supporting community-based groups. So I know that the Cape Ann Climate Coalition has received Empower funds and other funds, which is terrific. So. I certainly hope that you'll continue to apply for funding for the great work that Cape Ann Climate Coalition is doing, whether it's through this program or another one.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, other questions? We just have about 5 minutes left, and it may be that We don't need that 5 minutes, but it looks like somebody has just joined us to say, yes, we will be sending out a recording of the webinar. We will be sending out additional links that were shared with us, you know, just again, to make sure that you understand Mass Energize is not in any official capacity here in terms of being, you know, able to answer questions, but we are certainly wanting to, as Joanne said initially, we wanted to share that this opportunity is available, that municipalities are encouraged to apply. We'd love to see as many applications going in as possible. And we're, as I said, happy to support communities or municipalities specifically with their community engagement portion of this. And I want to compliment the DOER for acknowledging that community engagement is an important, very important part of the work that we all do, and oftentimes it's difficult to get funding for, you know, something that's a little quote unquote soft, as opposed to, you know, kind of issues like building insulation, and, you know, those kind of the hard projects are often more easy to get funding for than the softer community engagement. So I want to personally compliment DOER for your support for this level of community engagement, which is often overlooked and yet so important for the project that we're all engaged in, which is promoting energy efficiency and clean energy. Okay, any final questions or comments? And if not, I want to say thank you for taking your time out of a busy day. I'm sure everybody has, and hopefully people got a chance to hopefully learn something today. And we will be certainly sending everybody who's registered, we'll be sending up some follow-up resources. So thank you all for joining us.
Thank you very much, Nathan.